Charles, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. How's your day been, buddy?
It's been good. Yeah, really good. Thank you. Pretty
Yeah,
decent. How's yours?
it's not bad, not bad. Taking on a lot recently, so a lot's changing. Um, but most annoyingly, this is the first podcast that I've done in a very long time, and I've got the biggest front-facing mouth ulcer you've ever seen. It's it's like a pancakes on my lips. So yeah, I'm just going to put that aside
Yeah.
and dive straight into it because I'm very, very interested in your story, Charles. And I just want to take it from the very beginning. So, Charles, for those of you who don't know, tell us a bit more about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
So I'm Charles. I am the CEO of Momentum Fitness Charity. I also run a gym, do a bit of marketing consultancy, and some property bits and bobs. After running the gym for about 6 years, realised that actually there was a whole sector of society that we weren't really reaching. And we were in a privileged place to have the option of giving back a little bit. So I thought it was a great time to start a charity. There's a bit more background in that, which I can probably give you some detail on. But fast forward a couple of years, here we are, and running this incredible charity, which I love doing, which is really nice.
Yeah, no, got it. Yeah, thanks for that. And what was the background that you mentioned?
So I own a CrossFit gym down in Southampton, and we were one of the first gyms in the UK to do like a Pride workout. So every year in June, it's like Pride month. So we were like, right, we're a really inclusive gym. Let's do a Pride workout, celebrate what makes everyone different. And we did that. And I got a message from a charity in the US asking if we would be interested, or if I would be interested in setting up the UK like arm of an American inclusivity charity. And I thought, oh, this is really cool. I'd done quite a lot of work with charities and continue to sort of consult for other charities. And sort of spent the weekend thinking, oh, this could be good. This could be good. And then I thought, no, actually, I think locally I'd rather sort of concentrate locally on what we can do and how we can make a difference to local people. Not just through like LGBTQ plus lives, like, but also around just sort of older adults or disadvantaged teens or kids with cancer. And I just thought, well, actually, let's start this charity and focus really on what is needed locally to us and try and give back. We're really fortunate as a CrossFit gym to have a massive amount of space, some really experienced coaches. So I felt like we were in a good position to sort of start something. And myself and my colleague Amy, who helped me in the startup, thought, well, we'll see where the need is and see what kind of comes up as we start our formation. And we've really settled in over the last 2 years into a few sort of core projects, which we're really enjoying delivering and are having a huge impact.
Wow, fantastic. And how was your journey through CrossFit and the community-focused philosophy behind it? How's that really influenced the values and culture at Momentum?
So the concept of CrossFit is that it's very community-driven. It's all about the community, nurturing that. It's very different to sort of a commercial gym where you might go, stick your headphones in, ignore everyone, and just get on with your workout. You're kind of coming to a CrossFit gym because you want to chat to people, be told what to do for an hour, and sort of head off home. So we really wanted to form something that was still very much community focused and use those connections that we've got. So the charity in its formation, whilst it's a separate entity, used a lot of the connections that we had through CrossFit to form the basis of our 3 key projects. But it was really important for us to kind of create this kind of family where everyone can sort of help us shape the future of the charity. And we were happy to kind of consider all projects as they were presented to us. I guess our values really are about kind of where the greatest need is and how we can deliver services efficiently to enhance people's lives. And that's, I guess we'll talk more about the projects, but that's really what we've formed these projects on.
I got it. And why double down on fitness out of everything you could have chosen?
So I think there's been a lot of studies recently around health, and there's a lot of sort of health deprivation. And I know we have a bit of a public health crisis. Funding is really low.
Yeah.
Public health, and I think we were very much aware that actually there are huge benefits to fitness, just outside of doing a good workout is actually it can help with things like recovery from life-limiting illnesses, or it can help be a focus for a young person that's maybe kind of lost their way a little bit. There are so many benefits aside from just going to a gym and doing a workout, getting a pump on or whatever, and then going home. So I kind of thought, well, actually, this is a really great area. And with charities, obviously, funding is really, really low. And because we had access to this gym and we have the generosity of CrossFit Southampton donating the space, we knew we'd be able to have a lot more impact, more cost efficiently as well.
I'm just kind of wondering then, if let's say, for example, I'm someone who doesn't work out. This is like theoretically, right? I do a little bit of working out, but like theoretically, let's say, right, I'm a person who doesn't work out. I'm not in a great headspace, and I come to Momentum in Fitness. Like, what do you recommend someone start with? Like, how do you start with someone, and what's the process that you then take them through?
With us being in our infancy at the moment, we are kind of working on these 3 projects, which are the kids with and recovering from cancer, disadvantaged teens, and older adults. So at the moment, if someone like yourself just kind of wandered into our gym, we probably wouldn't be able to work with you at the moment. Whilst we're looking to expand projects, it's not something we yet have sort of funding for. But if you were an older adult, say if it was, one of your parents or something that hadn't been to a gym, and this is a very, very common occurrence we find in our project with older adults, we offer a 12-week program where you come in once a week for an hour. We make you feel comfortable in the environment, which can, of course, be quite intimidating at first to people. You're with a group of like-minded people who have also never really been that involved in fitness or have taken a break from it. We teach you the basics of it, make you understand kind of the benefits as well, do some baseline testing. And then what we find is that people form these social networks, these new social networks that they didn't think they'd be doing as older adults, for instance. And with that project and with that group, we, by the end of the year, will have had 80 over 55s cycle through our 12-week fully funded program.
Wow.
They go out for dinner regularly, they have socials outside of here, and they've created these new sort of networks they just really never thought they would do at that time in their life. And then they're also seeing the health benefits. So they're able to run around with their grandkids a lot easier. They've got more energy. They're excited and energized because they've got something in the diary that they're sort of doing. We've had stories of a lady who wanted to join late on a family caravan holiday trip because she didn't want to miss out on a few sessions at the gym with her friends. And so it's really kind of creating these new routines for people, and it becomes it reduces social isolation and loneliness in a part of society that is these days sadly quite notorious for it.
Yeah, that's great. I do remember my grandparents, no longer with us, passed about 10 years ago now, just over 10 years, never did any exercise, and never really had that much social interaction as well. And they just kind of, dare I say, they just kind of withered away. And it was quite sad to see their deterioration. So yeah, I really get the difference that you guys are making. And is there any one person in particular? I know that you won't be able to say their name, and that's fine, make up a fake name, but is there any person, young or old, who has gone through one of your programs that you're really proud of, who's made like a really big difference and you made like a really big impact with?
We had a girl who's in her mid-teens. She was at secondary school and she had a facial tumour. She'd had her treatment and then was in recovery, but was quite shy, and her confidence was massively knocked because of the impact that it had facially, but also loads of time in bed because at the time the NHS are recommending bed rest. Her hamstrings and her leg muscles had really shortened, so she was really struggling to walk. And so she was referred to us because there wasn't funding or availability for physio through the NHS, which is a bit crazy. But
wait, there's no funding for it on the NHS? So
depending on what type of tumour the kids have, and on what ward they're on, in what hospital, depends on the availability of physio.
Oh my God, so it's like a postcode lottery kind of situation, right?
So
Oh,
for her,
mate.
for instance, she was referred to community physio rather than a hospital-based physio. And I think there was about a 3-month wait. She'd seen a physio and they'd recommended that she go back to hospital and have her hamstring sliced all along it to lengthen it. And so
Sliced. Jesus, wow.
the consultant that was involved with her and that was working with her said, actually, I've got an idea. Let's recommend you to Momentum fitness charity. And so she came and saw 2 of our exercise therapists, Kelsey and Becky. She was one of their first cases in the hospital, and we committed to 12 weeks with her, and they were pretty confident that they could help lengthen her hamstring and sort of relieve some of the symptoms, and then maybe reassess how essential the operation would be. And within 4 or 5 weeks, they'd her heel was raised a number of inches off the ground, so she couldn't walk properly. Basically, she needed a mum and she needed a wheelchair. And within 4 or 5 weeks, they managed to get her heel flat to the floor. And then by the end of the 12 weeks, we then offered her a little bit longer as well. And her mum was able to go to the hospital and say, we no longer need the operation. And she was no longer in her wheelchair.
Wow.
So through doing a lot of lengthening, strengthening, and some of the program that we offer, which is completely tailored to each beneficiary, we were able to avoid that child having that operation, get her back to school. She's now at college, and get her moving towards getting back into dance, which is what she was really passionate about. She was looking at taking an extra year off of school or college because she was, sort of embarrassed about her condition. And actually now she's got the confidence to go back. So it's had more than just the physical side. It's also the mental side of it too. So yeah, that's been a really impactful project for her, and we're really proud of the work that we've done, and her mum is so immensely grateful for us getting involved.
Yeah, I bet. Wow. And it makes me think, how many operations have taken place which were maybe completely unnecessary if there was someone like you there and like your organisation there. Probably quite a few, I would imagine.
And it's this switch in mentality for consultants and medical staff to think, actually, we don't have to go down the route of medicine or procedures. We could look at alternative therapies in a way, or things like physio or exercise therapy, which is what we brand this as, to help with recovery. And there are now so many studies coming out in Europe and starting to come out in the UK showing that actually bed rest is not the solution to aiding recovery. It's actually physical activity and movement. So that's really helping support our journey. There's just no funding for it.
And I'd really like to drill down and get a little bit macro with that example, Charles. And you said that 2 of your colleagues, was it Kelsey and, sorry, what's the other lady's name? Kelsey and Becky?
Becky, yeah.
And they were doing some stretches with her. What exactly did they take her through, and how did those exercises progress over that 12-week period?
They have 45-minute sessions, 45 minutes to an hour session. The start of the 12 weeks, they'll sort of say, right, let's set an aim of what we want to achieve in this time. So the aim with this particular child was to lengthen the hamstring and to lower the heel. So they will have gone through some general cardiovascular bits first. So maybe some bike and some rowing and just kind of some moving around and assessing the general movement and making sure we're aware of limitations. Doing some baseline tests, so looking at kind of like sit and reach to toes and just seeing where we're at, and then measuring as well, like the heel height. And then I think what they did a lot of was static stretching, but also assisted stretching. So things like standing on a wooden box, holding a kettlebell, and then sort of folding forward. So bending at the hips, reaching towards the ground, but having the assistance of a little bit of weight from a kettlebell. So we encourage the hamstring to lengthen. And that's what they found was really successful. Then they set some homework to do, and the parent was heavily involved in doing this too, making sure this was being done a couple of times a week. And then they were just seeing really significant changes each week that she came back in. But also what we're doing is the initial appointments that happened in the hospital environment. And we find that children and parents are a little bit more tense in that environment because it's obviously not particularly positive environment. So we take them or offer them a place outside of the clinical environment in our gym, which is just down the road from the hospital, really not very far away, at times when we're closed to the public and have a bit more space, and they're able to kind of come in, maybe parents have a coffee, feel a bit more relaxed. They can see their child working out with one of our exercise therapists. And I think it just creates a much more relaxed environment.
It makes me wonder why there isn't something like momentum in fitness attached to or down the road from every hospital. Because to me, that it sounds like a crucial need, which can save, I would imagine, the NHS millions and millions with the surgeries that are probably taking place and don't need to happen.
That's exactly it. Yeah, and we're so aware of that, and that kind of part of our expansion. So we've been really lucky to have a significant fundraising event from someone who wanted to give back to us, and that's going to allow us to expand our services and create some regional hubs across the South Coast, which mean when people are limited by location, so with the hospital we work with covering the whole of the South Coast, we want to create some hubs in different counties where we can visit periodically and assist people who are under the care of the hospital we work with, but geographically live a little bit further away. So rather than them coming to us, we can provide it in a location closer to them.
No, I got it. That's a great plan. And in terms of your vision then, Charles, let's say anything's possible, right? In this vision, you can totally blue sky, but let's say, let's take it forward more. 10 years, right? 10 years. What do you want? Do you want a momentum in fitness close to every hospital in the country? Like what's the dream, Charles?
That's a really hard one because I think we've been looking mainly just a couple of years ahead. But yeah, if we're imagining a world where anything's possible, I would like to at least have rolled out a protocol or a program that we can deliver to teams maybe within a hospital. Maybe we've shown the NHS how essential this service is. And also, key element for them, how they can save money through using us in the first instance, and hopefully that will channel some funding into what we're delivering, and then being able to either deliver it ourselves and be commissioned to deliver exercise therapy to children's hospitals across the UK, or like I said, creating a protocol, creating a program, a course that perhaps physios or dedicated exercise therapists can work from and deliver our service for us inside the NHS.
I got it. That's a good vision. And in terms of the challenges that you face, because I just can't imagine how hard it is in 2025 running a charity, Charles. I would imagine it's tough, and I would guess that the cost of living has made that 10 times harder.
Absolutely. So from a community funding point of view, so that's people just donating regularly to us or doing an event for us, we've definitely seen across the sector a massive reduction in that happening. Being a relatively new charity, we didn't have years of data which showed this has now slowed down, so we kind of just entered at a really bad time. Looking at corporate funding, so through grants and bursaries and things like that, that has become very, very competitive. So it used to be that I think it was for every 3 or 4 grant applications you did, you'd get one. And I think it's now something like 1 in 25 to 30 that you might get. And actually that's then, you're paying for someone's time to do those. So that's a lot of outlay for not a lot of result. We're finding in our other projects, so our older adults project is quite easy to gain funding for because there is, we're bridging a massive gap there. We find that when we apply to funders for funding towards this exercise therapy project, most of them come back and say, oh no, we wouldn't fund that because the NHS should be doing that. And we agree it should, but it's not. So there's no, we don't get any further on that. And because it's relatively new and quite pioneering, there's not loads of research on it. So we're sort of frantically building all this research to be able to request funding and to be more successful in that. So we're having to really rely on community fundraising, which, as I said about a minute ago, is very difficult to get. So it's a really tough landscape. And what we are lucky enough to have is a gifted office space that we're being given from the gym that we work with. And we are, myself, my colleagues are lucky to have other jobs that we don't need a certain level of income in order to work here. So we're able to run the charity in a really lean way, which is extremely lucky. And it just means that any money we do get, we can get the majority of it back into delivering services, which you don't necessarily see in larger charities.
What have been the most surprising lessons that you've learned, either about yourself or the non-profit sector, since you've been leading Momentum, Charles?
For me, it's information sharing. So in other industries that I've worked in the past, I mean, once I was an estate agent, which is,
You were an estate agent. No, get out of town. Really?
yeah, years ago. And I think you're just sort of naturally hated.
That's why I'm surprised. You're such a nice guy.
You're not going to call up another estate agent and say, "Oh, guys, what? How are you getting some more properties on the market in the new year?" You wouldn't do that. It's not that kind of sector.
No.
But in the charity world, people do just give you a call and say, "Oh, we're working on a similar project in the north of England. What do you think about this? How did this work? Have you got any contacts?" And you just kind of share, because we've all got this mutual interest in making things work and giving back. And for me, being able to speak to other more established charities about fundraising events or grants, or how do you approach this, has been a game changer for us, and really unexpected.
Are there any charities in particular that you want to do maybe a quick shout out to, who have been particularly helpful in your journey, Charles?
None in particular that I would say. We've worked with or had advice from so many. I wouldn't want to miss any out in saying that. But no, some of my experience as well in my marketing role outside of the charity is predominantly with larger charities, and so I've kind of also learned from some of their mistakes and some of the more positive things they've done, what kind of works, what doesn't, which has allowed us kind of a bit of a head start on some of our work, for sure.
Got it. And if someone wants to reach out to you, Charles, if they want to make a donation, if they want to become a donor, or if there's any other way they can support you, how can they get in touch? What should they do?
Either drop me an email, or our website is just momentumfitnesscharity.org.uk, and there's a contact form on there, or give us a call. That comes through to us on our phones, and we'd love to kind of discuss, chat through any scenarios. Any help in any way is obviously always appreciated.
Great, fantastic. Well, Charles, thank you so much for your time on the call. I really, really do appreciate it. And all the best with the charity.
Thank you so much.